Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gem, this is Gem of Books, and today I have another tag for you. So today, with it being spooky season, I know lots of people do lots of fabulous makeup and decorations and stuff. Look, I have leaves, I have orange papery. That's as good as it gets. But with it being spooky season, I have a spooky tag for you today. I was tagged by the fabulous Gem over at Bookish Gems. Definitely go and check her out. She's marvellous. And we are doing the horror movie book tag. Sorry, I'm really uncomfortable. Better. So this was originally created by Royal Reader. I don't think I can find the original video, but I will see what I can do. If I can find anything, I will leave it in the description box. Obviously, Bookish Gems details will be linked below. And let's just do it, shall we? Let's just do it. So, number 1, The Zombie Apocalypse, a book you would save when civilization ends. So, I suppose the obvious answer to this would be my favourite book of all time, which I did a video of recently. I hate to talk about the same book many times, but that book is The Nightingale by Kristin. Absolutely love this book. I do need to reread it quite soon, actually, because it's been a while. But yes, this is the book I would save. Absolutely beautiful. Though it did break my heart into tiny, weeny pieces. And then stomp on them. Okay, question number 2. The Vampire, a book you would stake through the heart. So I quite like this question because I don't often talk about books on this channel that I don't like, unless it's in a wrap up. You may have seen my ranty wrap up about At Night All Blood is Black, but yeah, I have one that I would stake through the heart even harder than that one. And I read this one at the end of last year, and that was Call Me By Your Name by Aciman. This has loads of love. People love this book. So I thought I'd give it a go. Maybe it's my fault. I went into it thinking it was one thing and it absolutely was not. I thought this was a soft, sweeping, gay romance story set in beautiful Italy. And that's what I thought I was going to get. This book is not a love story. This book is a travesty. So in this book, we're following a young boy. He is a student, he's a teenager. He's in Italy with his parents who own like a villa, and a tutor comes to stay with them who knows his dad. And things go from there. Wow. Never in my life have I read a book that contains so much graphic sexual content and is also unbearably boring at the same time. I'm not even sure how that's possible. Perhaps the author should have had more kudos for managing to achieve those 2 feats in the same book. I'm not going to rattle on too much, but yeah, it was horrific. The way sex is discussed in this book was gross. I'm not a prude. You know, I can deal with a bit of kinky whatever in my books. Absolutely fine. This one literally made me want to vomit in my own mouth. So not for me. Not for me. And the relationship was completely unhealthy and quite frankly disgusting. So yeah. it wasn't for me. It's not for me. And it was really boring too. I think I've already said that, but yeah. The point is, I would stake it through the heart without a second thought. The Haunted House, a book that still haunts you. So I suppose you could interpret this one in different ways. For me, I'm going to choose All the Ugly and Wonderful Things by Bryn Greenwood. Yes, I know I keep talking about this book, but seriously, guys, you need to read it. Again, this is, I suppose, similarly to Call Me By Your Name, this has a highly inappropriate relationship at the heart of it. And I suppose that's why it still haunts me. But I loved it. I loved this book. I thought it was well executed. I thought it handled a lot of difficult subject areas well and with care and with respect, unlike Call Me By Your Name. And yeah, and I still think about it now, and that's what I'm going to interpret that continues to haunt you. So yeah, that's what I'm picking for this. The Psychological Thriller, a book with a twist at the end that you didn't see coming. This is an easy one for me. This is Verity by Colleen Hoover. Yeah, wow. So this follows a young writer who is asked effectively to go and shadow write for an author who is like halfway or nearly finished a series but is incapacitated and can no longer write. So she's asked to shadow write the last novel or two or whatever. So she goes to this author's house and picks up all her research and all that sort of stuff, and then stuff starts happening within that house. Not going to tell you any more than that, but it was creepy, atmospheric, but the last page, the last like chapter, didn't see that coming. No. That did blow my mind. So highly recommend that one if you haven't picked it up yet. I know Colleen Hoover is usually a sort of romance, contemporary romance author. This one is an out and out thriller. So if you've not been reading it because you think it's going to be overly romantic, it's not really. So yeah, recommend. The Creepy Doll, a book that seems innocent but isn't. It took me a while to think of a book for this, and then I found the perfect one. And that book is Watership Down by Richard Adams, is it? Adams. Yeah, I don't remember reading this book when I was a kid. I watched the film when I was a kid, but I read it last year. And yeah, I mean, it's a children's book about fluffy bunnies. So it looks quite cute and innocent from the outside. But for those that know the story of Watership Down, it's quite brutal for a children's book. There's quite a lot of blood, death, destruction, fighting. Oh, yeah, quite a lot of that shit going on. I didn't actually love this book, but it fits this prompt perfectly. The Monster, a book you could barely defeat or tackle. So for this one, I'm going to go for Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. I actually listened to this on audio, so some people might say that's a cheat, but this is a chunky boy. This is over 1,000 pages worth of book. I know lots of people like it. Lots of people liked Piranesi as well, which is clearly just not an author for me. But this took me months to battle through. This was before I decided that actually if I'm not enjoying a book, I'll just sack it off, because why would I waste my life reading books I don't like? But at the time, I never DNF'd, so I slogged through this book, and it was so boring. So yeah, that's my answer for this one. The Comedy Horror, a book of mixed genres that worked. This is an obvious one for me. Outlander, which is historical fiction sci-fi, sci-fi because it has time travel in. Yeah. I think most people know what Outlander's about. A woman gets transported back to Jacobite era Scotland from the 1950s. And she meets a strapping young Klansman named Jamie. And yeah, it goes from there. I'm on the 5th book of the series, so I'm still plugging away because they are chunky boys. But yeah, absolutely love that book. Thought it worth a treat. So yeah. The Cliched Teen Horror. A book you found super cliched or stereotypical. For this, I'm going to go for Shadow and Bone by Lee Bardugo. I think I wrapped up the second book, Siege and Storm, in my July wrap up, but I read Shadow and Bone before I started BookTube. This is your absolutely stereotypical YA fantasy novel with a young teenage female protagonist that is quote unquote special, also a bit of a brat, and there's cheesy romance sprinkled in throughout the book. Yeah, needless to say, I read the first 2 just because everyone was talking about it and I bought into the hype, but I will not be continuing because I thought it sucked. But that might just be because I'm old and cynical now and not a young teenager. The Demonic Possession, a book so gripping you needed an exorcist to escape it. For this one, I'm going to go back in time a bit to a book I read quite a long time ago, and that is The Mists of Avalon by Marion Zimmer Bradley. This is Arthurian legend. It focuses quite heavily on the perspective of Morgana Le Fay, and I loved it. I ate this book up. Honestly, right now, because I've read this probably more than 10 years ago, I can't remember the intricacies of it. It is one that I want to reread. But I just remember storming through it and loving every single page that I read. And the last one, the science fiction, a precious book you were permanently sacrificed to aliens for the good of mankind. Now, if you haven't already watched Bookish Gems version, I highly recommend that you do. But sorry, I'm going to spoil it a little bit. She picked The House in the Cerulean Sea for this, which is a great answer because absolutely that would definitely save humanity, because that is the most lovely book I've read in a very long time. However, I'm not sure I could sacrifice it for humankind. So I've taken it down a slight notch from there, and I think I would give them The Hobbit by J.R. Tolkien. I think you still get all the lovely friendship vibes, the found family vibes from it. And also, it's one of the few books that I've reread. So I wouldn't feel too upset about having to give it away. So yeah, that's what I would give away, and hopefully that would save humanity. As Tolkien is bound to, right? Okay, and that, my lovelets, is that. So I'm going to tag a couple of people to do this one. This is a relatively new tag going around, so hopefully these people have already done it. But I am going to tag Camilla at Hasty Books, Sandy at Miss Reads a Lot, and Jim at Jim's Books and Reading and Stuff. So I would love to see all 3 of you answer these questions. I think given your different reading tastes, all the answers will be quite different to mine and to each other. So looking forward to that. Also, if you haven't checked out any of these booktubers, absolutely you should do. They will be linked below because they are all fabulous. And yeah, thanks very much for listening, and I will catch you soon. Okay, bye.